For a long time, hip-hop has been a man's game, and women have had to play by their rules. But now female artists are turning the tables and taking center stage. There have been many great women hip-hop artists, but they've often had to fight double standards.
I do think women are making progress, but I don't think the onus is on women to make all these structural changes. Since we didn't create these systems that we have to navigate.
The phenomenal success of Cardi B is inspiring new artists like Maliibu Miitch from the Bronx. Her latest single is Give Her Some Money.
Cardi, it was like she used social media to her platform. She didn't let nobody tell her no, and that's what I love. Like, I love most about her, you know? It was like, she came in kicking the door down for all of us, and it made people look at other female rappers, and it's like, well, if Cardi could do it, anybody could do it.
The last time a female artist had a #1 hit on the Billboard rap chart was Lauryn Hill almost 20 years ago. Cardi B earned that honor, then went on to become the first female rapper in history to have 2 #1 hits on the Billboard Hot 100. And not long after that, like Lauryn Hill, she shocked her fans by becoming a mom. For hip-hop artist and new mom KIYANNE, it all made sense.
You have to do what you have to do so that you can do what you want to do. You know what I mean? My son is my world, but my career and my craft is my world as well. It's what keeps me alive as an individual.
Cardi's beef with the long-reigning queen of rap, Nicki Minaj, only intensified interest in female artists. Fans and the media can't seem to get enough.
That's what everybody wants from us females. They think we're so catty. They think that we can't get along, you know? So I don't like it for that reason, but I love it because it's like, we ain't have like a female beef like this in so long, so it's just like, so like legendary, you know? Us making history.
Women in hip-hop face the same challenges as women do everywhere, but there are some additional pressures. Let's find out what our panel has to say. Joining us for this conversation, the one and only KIYANNE. She's an artist and actress from Queens. Her latest single is Summer in New York. KIYANNE, great to have you with us.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Also with us is IVIE. She's a music editor and culture journalist for OK Player. She's also written for a number of publications, including the New York Times, Teen Vogue, and many others. IVIE, great to have you with us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Also with us is Maliibu Miitch. She's a hip-hop artist from the Bronx. Her latest single is Give Her Some Money. Maliibu Miitch, great to have you with us.
Hey, girl.
Thank you so much.
Thank
IVIE,
you.
I want to start with you because you've interviewed a lot of artists, you've written for a lot of publications and covered this for a long time. How is it that women now are finally able to get the recognition?
I think this women's movement in hip-hop is in tandem with all of these social movements that are happening right now. So I don't think any of this is separate from one another. I think the whole talk of political correctness and representation and social justice, all of these things are functioning together. And I think about what Toni Morrison had to say about political correctness and it being about the power to define, and the definers wanting the power to name, and the defined wanting to take that power away. So with women rising in hip-hop and all these other marginalized groups rising in society, I think people just want that representation and they want to be vocal. So a lot of silenced voices are being amplified right now. So I just think that's happening with hip-hop and with everything else.
No, that's an excellent point. KIYANNE, in terms of your career and your story, tell us a little bit about how you got started and do you feel extra inspired now?
I do feel extra inspired because I started rapping because of battle rap and the expression that you would get when you say a bar and you have the boys like,
looking at you.
yeah,
like you crazy. Like you ain't just say that.
Exactly, exactly. I feel like the culture has fluctuated like so much because, you know, at one point it was a woman being introduced by a man as the first lady, and then it's like, oh, okay, well, we'll respect her or accept her because, you know, she had a stamp from this.
She had to get a cosign.
That's right.
Exactly.
Yep. I feel like these days a cosign, whether it's direct or indirect, doesn't really matter. We're just here and you just have to listen, you know what I mean?
And deal with it. Maliibu Miitch, tell us about your career and how you got involved with this.
No, basically like the same thing. You know, I think that it was literally social media. With social media right now, like you can't you can't hide us no more, you know, especially females. Like a lot of people, they never wanted to really hear female. You only hear one or two, you know. I've been
Right,
rapping
there was
for,
always like a
Yeah.
certain number of spots.
I was rapping for 7 years. My first go around was with Rough Riders, you know. We didn't have a lot of females rapping like that, you know. And then exactly like she said, you had to be co-signed by a guy. I was co-signed by Swiss Beats around that time, you know. It was always, you have to be standing next to a guy for you to be like validated and be accepted as a rapper, you know. So it happens a lot actually between that, writing our stuff, you know. It's like they'll let a guy write a female stuff. It's like, are you a female? Sometimes I just be like, you know, I hate biased stuff, you know. They don't ever let us write, and then when we do, it's like they'll accept what a guy says versus what we say, and then we have to talk about sex. It's basically we have to talk
Like
about
you can't
sex.
talk about the same things or the
you
same
know,
issues.
it's just ridiculous, you know.
EVA, what about where the expectations are now for what Mitch is saying in terms of the top, like women are, there's still certain things like if she raps about this, that's going to be accepted. If she raps about what's going on in the streets or
Exactly.
what happens when somebody's murdered, it's looking at a whole different way.
As much as I think more women have been able to gain visibility in hip hop, I still think that hip hop has this antiquated way of looking at women who rap. It doesn't matter if there are 30 female rappers we can name on the top of our heads. It matters how we engage with their music, how we perceive them, and how we analyze them alongside men. I just feel like this old way of looking at women can only rap about one thing, like you said.
Exactly.
And also, when Nicki Minaj came, she sort of was like the prototype, right? So her being in the game for 10 years, people on the label end, on the business end, are looking at her like a cash cow. So they want to make models of her.
Exactly.
So they want replicas of what was already successful. It doesn't really have much to do with who she is. It's about what was successful, right? So they wanted to make photocopies of what was successful.
And she was one of the first. She came out right away with that Mac campaign, the Pink campaign. Writing her own lyrics was a big deal.
Set many precedents, you know, in and outside of music. But it's just this singular way of looking at women who rap and expecting them to be one way because they want the same iterations of what we've already had before. So when you look at a lot of the female rappers right now who are being propped up and doing well, they all kind of have the same package. Most of them who are in the forefront of the industry, because there's so many in indie and underground. And
Right, there's so many out there.
things.
Kyan, what about the thing, because battle rap especially is a male-dominated field and
is.
considered very aggressive, and you really have to be on point.
I could never do it myself, battle rapping, but I just did a skit recently on my Instagram and I incorporated battle rapping in it. And I think the fact that there's now a league for female rappers that, you know, are specializing in the battle, you know what I mean? It's like we can stand toe to toe with the men.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? It's not just this is ours. It's like, okay, we'll move over because
I honestly
we're
think
women.
we're a little clever than them too,
That's
because the stuff
right.
we
We're
be
natural
saying,
creators.
we're a little more
Natural
clever than them.
Watch out. Warning shot fired. Hashtag shots fired.
Yes.
That was a warning shot, guys. All right, we gotta take a short break. This is Street Soldiers. I'm your host, Lisa Evers. We'll be back right after this.
I think it changed for everybody, and it changed for the better too, you know?
Definitely.
Because you could be
more
short,
access.
exactly, you know, way more access.
Let's talk about the dark side. In terms of what the pressures that are on women, we've seen so many stories, especially in the acting profession, the so-called casting couch. I think in the music industry, the stories have been around people's promises made to women in exchange for favors, to do things for their careers, studio time, getting on a label, getting access, that type of thing. Maliibu Miitch, have you had any examples like that when you were starting out?
I had guys try to talk to me and tell me they could promise me a bunch of things, but you know how, you know, I'm from the Bronx, you know, I'm from the hood, so guys was been doing that since I came out the womb, like, you know, so it was, you know, like, it was kind of like, you know, just watching yourself, pacing yourself, you know. These guys tell every female that, and the ones that actually fall for it, you won't ever see them again, you know. I've noticed that, you know.
Like what? Like explain that for
you
us.
know, you won't. you know, after a guy gets what they want, it's over after that. You know, they're on to the next girl after that, you know, and like your mom taught you that when you was younger, and it's very true, especially in this industry. This industry is small. They look at it, you have, you know, you do something with them, you're going to do something with the next guy, and the next guy after that, that's going to promise you that they could change your life, you know. It's all about setting your grounds, you know, not falling for it, you know. Same, I always apply everything my mama taught me, like, you know. So all of this, everything the streets taught me, I apply it to this, because, you know, I remember when I was signed to Island Def Jam, Sam Waters was my A&R, and he actually told me, like, you know, the best people to maneuver around in this industry happens to be people from the hood, the streets. Like, you know, if you apply what you learned outside and what your mother taught you here, you're gonna be
You're gonna be good. You're gonna be okay.
Yeah.
You're gonna be okay. Kyan, what about that in terms of the pressure? Maybe not necessarily what you've gone through personally, if you don't want to talk about that, but in terms of what you see, because there are some women that are very thirsty and they just will do whatever in order to you know, to get that cosign or to get you know, to get somebody to put them on.
I'm not one of those. But
We know that. Okay. We definitely know that.
listen to music, and a man is the head of the household. They're the breadwinner, so they feel like I don't gotta listen to you, so show me something. So if you were to look at my image per se, not this shirt now, but I usually cover up in the hoodie or whatever it is, just to force, you know, my content on, like, on your ears, like, listen to me, opposed to like
Look
how
at me.
high they sit up, and you know what I'm saying. Like,
Right.
I just want that chance, that opportunity, opposed to a favor. You know what
you know,
I mean?
I find that to be very sexy though. Like a woman being herself. Like, you know, when she's putting up like that, I love that. Like even back in the day with Queen Latifah, she didn't care about that. But I don't know why I had a little crush on Queen Latifah back and set it off. You know, she was fully clothed. Like, you know, it's just
Right.
something about being yourself that just lets off that sexiness. Like, you know.
The authenticity.
Yeah.
IVIE, what about that?
Exactly, confidence.
A lot of the ways we deal with that, I think, for women is very reactionary. So it's less about victim blaming and saying, you know, you should know better. It's
Right.
more so about men should not be doing this in the first place.
Exactly.
Right?
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
But
And we should be very clear about that.
but the
It shouldn't be
reality-
happening.
The reality of it
But
is
the
we have
reality
to
of
be
it, it is.
reactionary. So we
Yeah.
have to take precautions, right?
Right.
But a remedy to this, I think, is the fact that we should have more women gatekeepers in this industry, so that it's not men at the helm of making these decisions. And I think we should think about the environment as to why women do these things to get on. It's because they feel like they need to.
Right.
Because this environment was created so that they have to. It wasn't created. That system wasn't created for women to prosper in these industries.
But has the
Wasn't
whole
created with that in mind.
has social media and the whole digital explosion that's enabled you, you know, we could record a song right now on my phone. It's not going to be top quality, but you don't need tens of thousands of dollars from somebody
Exactly.
to buy studio time. You can do it in a much more, you know, much less expensive way and still get a high quality. So has that even the playing field, do you think, for women?
No, definitely. You know, I was rapping in closets and trap houses. Like, you know, when I first started out, and I see Lil Wayne rapping in his tour bus in his hotel, just setting up a mic and doing all of that. You know, I think it changed for everybody now. It's much easier for everyone, you know, with especially with Instagram. You know, you could post a freestyle of you rapping. You don't even need to go in the booth no more. You could post a little
Have your phone.
a 60-second video, you know, of you spitting and rapping, and somebody's gonna see you. You know, I think it changed for everybody, and it changed for the better too. You know,
Definitely.
because you
More-
could be
more
show-
access.
exactly. You know, way more access.
Let me ask you ladies this. Some of the beefs that are getting the most attention now are between females. Is that a sign? Is that a positive sign of progress? Maliibu Miitch, what do
I
you
think
think?
it's like, yeah, I think it is, you know, because like before, look, before it was all the guys beefing, I think it's alright. Like, you know, we beef, I think it should be considered just like the guys. It should be regular. It shouldn't be like, oh, females are fighting. Look at the females, you know? And again, I think it goes back to why are they fighting? Maybe if these guys didn't put one person on the pedestal so much like that, you know, to where other females couldn't come in, it wouldn't be an issue like that, you know. We even have fans attacking each other for it being Nicki Minaj and Cardi B, you know. It's just ridiculous these days, you know. It's like it has to be only one female rapper, you know, up there, and it can't be two, it can't be three, it can't be 5, 4, 10, you know.
Kyan, what do you think about the beefing?
It's entertaining.
That's for sure.
It's
And better to have a stiletto thrown than a gunfire, right?
You're right about that. And I feel like Maliibu hit it like on the head. This is my second time meeting her, and although I don't know her per se, like as a person, like I still relate to her. She understands my frustration of what am I gonna do with this instrumental,
Exactly.
or you know what, the enjoyment of look what I did with this instrumental. You know what I'm saying? So it's like what she does is good for her, and what I do
Exactly.
is good for me. But I feel like it all stems from them dirty boys
Yep.
that's in this industry of
Starting stuff.
Yeah, seriously, like this is the most special girl, and we're all paying attention to her, opposed to like putting all the lights on.
Like
Just
I
that
done
one
physically
spotlight.
seen it. Like guys will be like, come up to me and talk about, oh, she's such and such a, and I'm like, wait, why are you even talking about? You're talking about us like you're a female or something. It be these guys that be saying the most negative thing, and I can
You mean like
understand
about like how you look and how you dress
everything. Like, well, she does this. Why are you doing that? Oh, well, she did this, and you know what? F
Like, why
her.
can't you be
know?
yourself?
Yeah, but then it's like they low key don't understand what they're doing. If you have a female that's very insecure, that hate, like that just listens to everything she's told, then look, you just started a beef between them two girls, and they don't even know each other. It's always like that. I literally seen it so many times. These guys behind the scenes starting so much beef.
It's
you
like
know?
that's how they start conversations sometimes. Oh, Malibu, I love your stuff. You way
Yeah.
better than Cayenne.
Like why?
And it's like,
Just like that,
why?
and you're
No,
like, why?
just
like
exactly
that.
like that.
That's exactly how they would say it too.
Yes,
exactly how they would
like
say
that.
And it's
EVA, what do you
unfortunate.
think about that?
I think that's inherent. Their behavior, men's behavior in this industry, is just inherent for them to want to have
control.
to have control over that narrative, to have control over the spots that they give to women in this industry. Because at the end of the day, who are the gatekeepers? Mostly men. So they want to have that control. So they take control of that narrative by talking like that amongst women, to women. And I remember I was watching Roxanne Shante just came out with her movie.
Oh, it's so good.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
So good.
And shout out to Roxanne. She's
Yes,
a big
it's so
supporter.
good.
Roxanne, we love you. Big supporter of Street Soldiers.
Yes.
You're like Cayenne came out Queens. Our push for peace in Queens first time this year. So we're gonna get you out there too, man.
Yes.
Well, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. But Roxanne Shante, you were saying.
Yeah, I went to a bunch of screenings that she did, and she would talk about how when she was coming up, the men would purposefully separate women rappers, so they would never talk to another woman rapper. So you would never know what's going on the other side unless you heard it from a man.
Right.
And they kept them separated so that they wouldn't learn about rates, how much money should I be making,
Exactly.
what should I be doing, and then that just perpetuated any semblance of a beef, any semblance of a conflict.
Exactly.
But now, since there's a lot more women who are visible in the industry, beef is good because it gets people talking about women. It means that there are more than one woman who's popping right now.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And nobody's dying, so it's good.
Right, and a lot of it's on social media and at
Yeah,
fashion
social
shows.
media.
Exactly.
So that
So I think that visibility is better now for women in rap.
do you see Mitch, the expansion of the like, we have a big diversity. You look at male artists, there's a tremendous diversity of styles, of looks, of content, of what they do. Do you think we'll get to the point where we'll see that kind of range among female artists?
I think it's doing that now. That's happening. It's so many female artists that is coming out because of social media. So I see like I feel like it was back in the day with the 90s. Remember when it was Left Eye, when it was Angie Martinez. I remember when Angie Martinez was rapping. Like it was so diverse, and now I think it's going back to that.
I want to thank you all for being with us for this episode of Street Soldiers. Cayenne, thank you so much for joining us. And thank you for always supporting us with our community events.
You know it.
And everything. We appreciate it. EVA Ani, great to have you with us. Thank you so much. And Maliibu Miitch, great to have you on the show. We're gonna grab you for the Push for Peace in the town halls.
Yes, whatever. I'm
Town
right
hall
here.
too out there. We're in the Bronx a lot. I'm in the Bronx a lot.
good.
So I want to thank you all for being with us for this special episode of Street Soldiers. Thank you all for joining me. I'm your host, Lisa Evers. Remember, use your mind. It's your best weapon. I hope it's your only weapon. Let's push for peace.